Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm more back with more WNBA topics, and today I'll be discussing Aaliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever. Uh, is she the new, or has she always been the Batman of the Indiana Fever? Now, most people think this question is outlandish or it's absurd, but when you peel back the layers, you'll see differently. Since Caitlin Clark has been out to injury, we've been seeing a glimpse of Aaliyah Boston's potential and what she could be. Her skill set is amazing, especially playing the position she has at center, and her skill set and just she brings a lot of nostalgia to that position, especially when you compare it to the NBA, because that position has kind of come obsolete. They have center shooting threes now, which she can shoot threes as well. But they're not really in the paint as much. They don't have the post moves like they used to back in the day. She has all of those. She has the footwork. She has the total package when it comes to the game. And it also helps with the scoring of Kelsey Mitchell, who I believe is probably the best scorer on the team, just from the ability to shoot outside and score inside the paint, her speed, her ability to defend, to play the passing lanes and be able to disrupt defenses. She's a total package. She's not just a scorer or a shooter. She's a scorer, shooter, and a defender. So she's a lot of things, and she's a little bit undersized. So she still is able to be disruptive on the defensive end. So, but she opens up the court for Aaliyah Boston to do what she needs to do in the paint because you have to respect the shooting or the scoring ability of Kelsey Mitchell. Now, Kelsey Mitchell is the leadest high scorer, I believe. She's averaging around 19 and a half points. So she's doing very well. And then they're coming off the Commissioner's Cup win and they've been flying high. But Leah Boston has been playing all of the games, knock on wood. She's been very durable. She's averaging 22 points and 8 rebounds since the absence of Caitlin Clark. So that leads to question, is she the Batman of the group? I know people will say that, Indiana got the number one pick in Caitlin Clark because Aaliyah Boston previous year was in Indiana and they stunk up the joint. Now that might be true, but she didn't have the pieces that she has now. They've put a Sophie Cunningham around him and Lexi and all these different players now to fit Caitlin Clark's game, but they didn't really build around Aaliyah Boston when she got drafted because she was the building block. So they really didn't have pieces around her. But now that they have the requisite pieces around her, she can thrive without a Caitlin Clark. Now, with just a Kelsey Mitchell, I think they're a playoff team with just Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi and Sophie Cunningham and all these different players. But you still need the pieces, similar to Kyrie when he was drafted in Cleveland. He was this phenomenal player, but he was injury prone and he didn't have a lot of pieces around him until he got LeBron and they started, bringing J.R. Smith and what's the center name? Tristan Thompson and all these other great guys to help. But when Kyrie was there by himself, he didn't really have a lot of help, a lot of pieces with him. Same thing with Kobe after Shaq left. Same thing with Shaq before he got with Kobe. He was in Orlando. He had Penny Hardaway, but he didn't have the requisite pieces or he wasn't in the right franchise to get him those pieces. So when he went to LA, they put him around a Kobe. They put him around a Derek Fisher. They put him around Rick Fox and great other players like that. So they had those pieces. So it's more than just being a great player. You have to have the pieces as well. Um, but Aaliyah was still averaging 14 and 8 rebounds back then on 57% shooting before Caitlin Clark was drafted to the Fever. So she's always been pretty efficient and has always been putting up great stats. So that was never the issue. She just needed the pieces, as I said before. And Aaliyah might be the most dominant or makes the most physical player in the WNBA. And I think she's the most physical because I want to say she's around like 6'5" to 20. So she can hold her own in the paint. And I seen her play against the Aces the other day, and she was giving Asia Wilson the work, which is one of the best defenders and players in the league. So she did well, and her former teammate, or former South Carolina Gamecock teammate. So she's done. Um, so she holds her own in the league, and she's still pretty young. So she's pretty dominant and pretty physical, and you can tell she's really worked on her footwork and her post game. And she plays in the league that values the front court players, unlike the NBA, like I talked about before. you still can get most of your work done in the paint. There is still a lot of 3-point shooting, but mostly there's players around the paint or in the mid range. So you still have a lot of that, but they have a lot of front court players. Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Nafisha Colliers, Jonquel Jones. We need to see her back. The Liberty has been struggling without her. De'Arica Henby, all these different players. But Boston is a former number one pick and deservingly so. If you watch her game is probably not the prettiest or the best to look at, but she definitely gets the job done. So if you haven't seen her play, definitely watch her play because I do believe she's the Batman of that league. I mean, of that Indiana Fever team compared to um, she's probably Shaq compared to Caitlin Clark's Kobe. I think Shaq was more important than Kobe back during those years for the simple fact of you needed that paint work, especially back in the early 2000s. Now, I'm a huge Kobe fan, and it's probably preposterous to say, but I think Shaq was a little bit more important than Kobe back during those times because nobody had an answer for Shaq at that time. People had an answer for Kobe through double teams and things like that, but you couldn't double team Shaq. You couldn't do anything with Shaq back in those days. But as always, until next time, I'll see you next time.